I have a very interesting opinion, but it actually doesn't have anything to do with this. I just wanted to make it well known that the Costco food court, specifically their pizza, is really good, and it's a great deal. But to talk about something more important here today, it would be this: the Value RX Motion Sickness Relief. Now, if you are a professional medication geeker like me, you will know exactly where this came from. This came from Dollar Tree. So there are 15 tablets in here, and I got this for $1.25. If that's not a deal, then I don't know what is. So, what the heck is this? And how does it work? It gives you a little bit of a clue here, Motion sickness relief. Compared to Dramamine, less drowsy active ingredient. And of course it says $1.25 here. The insignia that we all lust after. $1.25. Meclizine. Alright, I was just reminded of something that makes me incredibly upset. And I know this is going to resonate with quite a few people. This is HCl. This is meclizine, capital H, capital C, lowercase l. There are, I don't want to say idiots, because it's not really their fault, but there are people with way too much confidence call this HCI. And obviously they don't know what they're talking about, but like I said, it's not really their fault. Now, the person who, I don't know, back probably the early 90s, late 80s, decided that standard computer font should make a capital I look like a lowercase l, or lowercase l, make it look like a capital I. Is there any capital I's on this font? Of course not. The capital I is the red-headed stepchild of the alphabet. They look identical in most fonts. And it just drives me nuts because I would think that that says HCI. you have two capital letters, you would assume the third one is capital. But in the context of, meclizine, 25 milligram, I know that it's hydrochloric acid, HCl. Why do we, as a society, put up with so much this is a term I don't think I ever get to use, ubiquitous ambiguity? I go out of my way to pick fonts, at least most of the time, because it's very difficult, that express a capital I the way it is meant, the way God intended. Right here, with a line on the bottom and a line on the top. A straight line. And it looks like the number 1 as well. So that always really bugged me. We are, as a society, we are so comfortable with capital I's, lowercase l's, and the number 1 looking identical. And I don't like that about us. Anyway, hydrochloric acid, or hydrochloride, is what that means. Meclizine hydrochloride. This, for the most part, doesn't really matter. And I know people get all excited, like, ooh, I don't, what do people really get crazy about? A good, dextromethorphan. Like, it's hydrobromide. It's polystyrix. Okay, I guess those things do matter, but in the grand scheme of things, I mean, it's just a small fraction of the total picture. You take meclizine, it interacts with your receptors. Alright, if the counter ion, that's what this is called, the hydrochloride, if there was a different counter ion and it was put there, it's still going to interact with the receptors. Like, that's the main part. How quickly it dissolves. The charge of the molecule. It's not really that important. But you can't explain that to someone because they Google it and then they see Andrew Huberman Lab. Here's the important thing that you need to know that I just made up. So you can't win. You can't win, folks. We're going to talk about this at some point, I swear. We're going to get to it. Okay. Anti-emetic. Okay. That means it helps with nausea. And if you didn't know that, it says it right here. Helps prevent nausea and dizziness due to motion sickness. For ages 12 and over, 15 tablets, actual size. Alright, so meclizine is a first-generation antihistamine. It is very similar to diphenhydramine or Benadryl. In fact, it is so similar, it's really difficult. It's really difficult to actually describe the difference in any real clinical, practical, to any real clinical or practical extent. So what ends up happening, for whatever reason, is we as a community have decided this is the motion sickness antihistamine. Diphenhydramine is the allergy and sleeping antihistamine. There's another one as well. Oh yeah, doxylamine is the sleeping antihistamine. And it is what it is. Theoretically, you could use this for allergies. But we've fallen into such a severe pattern that no one would ever even say that. There's no point. There's no point. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's not hurting anyone, so this is the world we live in, folks. Out of curiosity, I want to know what happens if you Google why is meclizine, used for nausea. But I will probably check that out later. But you can use Benadryl for nausea. I mean, you can. There's nothing wrong with that. Being that this is a first generation, it means it has an anticholinergic effect. That is very relevant. Because a lot of the times, I would say for most people in most situations, an anticholinergic effect is more bad than good. Most of the time. It can cause drowsiness, right? There's that increased risk for dementia, although that's not statistically significant in antihistamines, but whatever. But sometimes it's good. And in this case, when we talk about motion sickness, I can confidently tell you that anticholinergic side effect of this first generation antihistamine is good. It is helpful. Now, remember, this is an antihistamine. Very technically, it would not be outside the realm of reason to use for allergies, but no one would ever do that. This has its fate sealed as an anti-emetic. And that's okay. We have enough allergy meds anyway. So this crosses the blood-brain barrier. It interacts with the histamine receptors in the brain. It blocks acetylcholine. And that sort of helps restore the balance, I guess you could say. Helps with that motion sickness. Uses: for the prevention and treatment of nausea, vomiting, or dizziness associated with motion sickness. Vertigo, basically. This is a vertigo med. This is our over-the-counter ondansetron, except not really. Ondansetron is probably much better. Warnings. Do not use for children under 12 years of age unless directed by a doctor. Okay? So this is an adults-only pill. Ask a doctor before use if you have glaucoma, difficulty in urination due to enlargement of the prostate gland, a breathing problem such as emphysema or chronic bronchitis. Okay, so we got a few things listed here that we have to be cognizant of. Ask a doctor or a pharmacist before use if you're taking sedatives or tranquilizers. When using this product, drowsiness may occur. Avoid alcoholic beverages. Alcohol, sedatives, and tranquilizers may increase drowsiness. So this is a less drowsy, but it still can make you drowsy. Use caution when driving a motor vehicle or operating machinery. Alright? So this is not a medication that, folks who are out there on their oil rigs, the garbage truck drivers, airplane mechanics probably don't want to be taking this before work. If pregnant or breastfeeding, ask a health professional before use. Keep out of reach of children. This is from Shield Pharmaceuticals Corp. in Carle Place, New York. Carle Place. Interesting. There's so many medication companies out of New York. These are over-the-counter meds, anyway. Oh, we wanted to check this out. Directions. Do not take more than directed. Okay. Take first dose 1/2 to 1 hour before starting activity. Adults and children 12 years and over 1 to 2 tablets once daily or as directed by doctor. So there you have it, and you can actually take half of a tablet too. I'm surprised it didn't say that on here. I can't wait to try this out. Here's the thing, I don't really ever get vertigo. I think this would maybe help if I was, getting on a boat or something, but I try to stay away from boats, so it's going to be a long time before I actually get to try this. But let's check it out. Wow, I love these Dollar Tree products. I think it's so cool. It's the same information on the bottle here. There's no point in me reading it again. But I think it's so weird that this can exist only in Dollar Tree. Like, they have that much of a buying power as a company that they can create their own meclizine, for crying out loud. Where's my little, my opener? Check it out. Check these puppies out. Look at that. You love to see it. You love to see it. I had a very difficult time getting this to focus, but it says 44, and then right below that it says 403. These kind of look like Smarties, don't they? Remember those candies? They come in that little cellophane Christmas cracker packaging. Get them at school for just about everything. every event, there's always Smarties being given out. Yeah, this is a good pill. Man, I wish I had a reason to take this today. Well, maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day, I guess.